Not every tough quarter means it's time to leave, but sometimes it does. And knowing the difference between a temporary slump or a permanent sign that you need to go, that could be the most important career decision you make this year. Here's the thing nobody talks about in sales. You can be successful and still feel completely stuck. You're hitting quota, maybe even exceeding it. And from the outside, everything looks great. But inside, you're questioning if this is all that there is. Maybe you're making good money, but you feel empty. Maybe you're successful, but not satisfied. Maybe you're thinking about what's next, but everything feels like a step backwards. Management means giving up commission, switching companies means starting over, and staying put feels like you're slowly dying. I've been exactly where you are. I've had years where I'm crushing my quotas, but I still felt like I was just going through the motions. And I've worked with a lot of salespeople who are going through this exact thing. Is this just a rough patch, or is this time to make a change? Today I'm going to break down exactly how to tell the difference for you. You'll have a clear understanding about what you're dealing with and how exactly to go about changing it. When you're successful but struggling, it usually comes down to one of three things. And understanding which one you're experiencing is critical because each one requires a completely different approach. Number one, you're burned out. This isn't about missing quota. It's about feeling disconnected from the work that used to energize you. You're still performing, but it's taking everything you have just to maintain that performance. You're running on autopilot and it's exhausting. Number two, you're stagnating. You've mastered your role, you're comfortable, you're successful, but you're not growing. Every day feels like a repeat of the last one. You're winning, but winning doesn't feel like winning anymore. You feel like you're trapped in your own success. Number three, you're misaligned. This is when something fundamental about your situation does not fit who you are anymore. Maybe your values have shifted, maybe your priorities have changed, maybe you've outgrown what you're doing. Success feels hollow because it's not the right kind of success for you. Now, here's what makes this tricky for mid-career salespeople. When you're new, struggle means you're usually just not hitting your numbers yet. But when you've been doing it a while, the struggle is more subtle. It's about motivation, fulfillment, and wondering if this is all that there is. The key is figuring out which category you're in here. Because, like I said, the solution for each one is completely different. Let's start with burnout. And this is probably different than you might be thinking right now. Mid-career burnout is not about being bad at your job. It's about being good at your job, but losing the spark that made you good in the first place. Here's what burnout actually feels like when you're hitting your numbers. You're still closing deals, but it doesn't feel like a win anymore. You're still having conversations with prospects, but they feel a bit robotic. You're still doing the activities that made you successful in the first place, but now they feel like a grind. You wake up and already feel tired. And it's not because you didn't get a good night's sleep. You're irritated by things that used to roll off your back. You're avoiding your phone even though you know you should be prospecting. You're procrastinating on follow-ups even with good prospects. Here's the big one. You're successful, but you don't feel successful. You hit quota, but instead of celebrating, you're just relieved that it's over. And then you start thinking about doing it all over again the next month. Here's the key question for burnout though. Are you tired of the work or are you tired from the work? If you're tired from the work, then that's burnout. You still believe what you're doing, but you need to find a way to recharge and reconnect. So do this little exercise with me real quick. Think about your best deal from this year. When you think about that success, do you feel proud and energized, or do you just feel relieved that it's done? If you feel proud and energized, you're probably dealing with burnout, not misalignment. Here's another way to think about it. If you could take a month off and come back fresh with energy, would you be excited to get back into your role? If the answer is yes, you're burned out, not misaligned. Mid-career burnout happens because you've been running for years without really stopping to recharge. You've been so focused on hitting and exceeding quota that you've forgotten about why you got into the position in the first place. Now, let's talk about stagnation. This is probably the most common issue I see with successful salespeople. You're good at what you do, maybe even really good, but you're not growing anymore. Stagnation feels like this. You can predict exactly how your day will go before you even start it. You're having the same conversations, solving the same problems, giving the same presentation. You're successful, but you're not excited about your success. Here's what's tricky about stagnation. It can feel comfortable. You're making good money, you know you're hitting your quota, you're respected by your peers, but comfort can be dangerous because it often stops you from growing. Here are a few other signs of stagnation. You're not learning anything new. You haven't been genuinely challenged in months. You're giving the same presentation you gave 2 years ago. You're not failing at anything, which might sound good, but if you're never failing, you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough. Another big sign is you're successful, but you're bored. You close deals, but it doesn't feel like an accomplishment anymore. It just feels like something that you do. So here's a quick stagnation test. When was the last time you felt genuinely excited about a work challenge? If you can't remember, or it was more than 6 months ago, you're probably stagnating. And here's what's interesting. Stagnation happens to the best salespeople. You get comfortable because you're being successful, but success can be a trap. The good news is stagnation is fixable, often without making a big career change. But it does require you to actively seek out new challenges. Maybe that's asking for enterprise accounts. Maybe it's learning a new product line. Maybe it's mentoring new reps. Maybe it's setting personal goals that go beyond your quota. But here's the important part. You have to actively pursue these challenges. Your manager probably doesn't even realize you're stagnating if your numbers are good. You have to be the one to ask for more. I've seen people break out of stagnation for just volunteering for projects outside their usual scope, by taking on leadership roles without becoming a manager, by learning new skills that complement their sales ability, or by finding new ways to make their role more strategic. But if you've tried to create new challenges but nothing's working, that might be a sign that you've outgrown your current environment. Sometimes the issue isn't that you're not growing, it's just that there's no room to grow where you are. Finally, let's talk about misalignment. And this is the most serious of the three because you can't just fix this with rest or a new challenge. Misalignment for mid-career salespeople often looks like this. You're successful by external measures, but success doesn't feel satisfying anymore. You're making good money, but money is not motivating you the way that it used to. You're hitting your goals, but your goals don't feel meaningful anymore. Here are the signs. You find yourself questioning what you're doing, but not just what you're doing, why you're doing it. You're making good money, but you're not excited about making more. You feel respected in the field, but you don't respect the field anymore. Maybe your values have shifted. Maybe what mattered to you 5 years ago does not matter to you right now. Maybe you want to make an impact, not just money. Maybe you want to build something, not just sell something. Here's the big one though. You feel like you're wasting your potential. You're good at sales, but sales isn't the best use of your skills anymore. So here's the misalignment test. I need you to ask yourself these questions. If you could design your ideal career from scratch, would it look anything like what you're doing right now? Number 2, are you proud of the work you do? Or are you just proud of the money that you make? Number 3, do you feel like you're using your best talents in your current role? Number 4, when you think about doing the same job for the next 10 years, how does that make you feel? Are you working towards something you actually want, or just away from something that you don't want? If you answered no to most of these questions, you might be in misalignment. Here's the hard truth though. You can't fix misalignment by working harder or making more money. When there's a fundamental mismatch between who you are and what you're doing, the only real solution is finding a better fit. And here's something important for mid-career sales professionals. Misalignment often happens because you've grown as a person, but your career just has not grown with you. What excited you when you started out might not excite you right now. What motivated you then might not motivate you now. That's not failure, that's just growth. The challenge is making a change feels so risky when you're successful. You have golden handcuffs. You're making good money, you have a good reputation, you have momentum, but staying in the wrong place just because you're successful is not great for your career. So, how do you actually make the decision? Here's my framework for mid-career salespeople who are successful but struggling. Step 1. Give yourself a realistic timeline. For someone in your position, I recommend about 6 months, not 90 days. You have more to lose, so you need more time to make the right decision. Step 2. If you think it's burnout, focus on rediscovering what you loved from the work initially. Take time off if you can. Reconnect with your why. Remember what got you excited about the position in the first place. Set boundaries and find a way to make work feel fresh again. Step 3. If you think it's stagnation, aggressively pursue new challenges. But don't just ask for more work. Ask for different work. Ask for strategic projects. Ask to be involved in bigger deals. Ask to mentor others. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. Step 4. If you think it's misalignment, start exploring what's next. But do it thoughtfully. Network with people in roles that interest you. Take on side projects that align with your values. Start building skills that would actually transfer to what you want to do. Step 5. At the end of 6 months, make an honest assessment. Are you energized about work again? Are you growing in ways that matter to you? Do you feel like you're on the right path? If the answer is no, then it's time to make a change. But make it a strategic change, not a desperate one. Here's the big key for someone in your position though. Don't make the decision out of fear. Fear of change, fear of starting over, fear of making less money. Make the decision based on what you actually want in your career and your life. And remember, you don't have to make a dramatic change all at once. You can make a strategic transition. You can use your success in sales as a launch pad for starting something that you want to start. Leverage your network, leverage your skills, and your track record to make new opportunities. If this video helped you figure out where you stand right now, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and smash that notification bell so you don't miss out on any more sales career tips.